Do you know what time it is? It is time for the countdown to kickoff. Back in the day on the radio,
Countdown to kickoff.
Sid and I had a lot more time to fill, and we had a lot less guests to work with, thanks to Bob McCowan. So every Friday of the football season, we would spend about a half an hour, 45 minutes, depending on the day.
It was probably Millard's fault.
Something we called Countdown to Kickoff. Now, to explain it, cavalcade of sports of information meant to entertain and expand the mind heading into the week of football. Went pretty well. So we adjusted a couple times to incorporate other sports, usually at the start of the season, because frankly, doing it every week was way too much work already. So attempting to do it for every sport was not in my best interest, as you can probably guess who did all the work and who answered the questions.
Not me. And I answered the questions.
To be fair, answering requires more talent, asking more work, hence the yin and the yang of Tim and Sid. But it always ended with a musical portion of the segment that usually included a Name That Tune-like segment that Sid was unusually good at. And if he got 5 out of 5, he got a prize. And more times than not, Sid, if I remember correctly, you got 5 out of 5.
Perfection is my middle name.
Sydney,
it was humility.
Perfection.
But then I changed it to perfection.
I've gone all this way to say this. Seeing we don't have sports right now, and everyone is in a different state of where they're at, I thought it was time to bring it back.
Okay.
Bring it back. Sing it back. Bring it back.
Yeah.
I gathered some interesting and fun stats from the big four sports and figured we could run it back with some of the best stuff in the history of those games. 6-0. We used to do Countdown to Kickoff, but I will start with an all-hockey version of the game. So let's welcome back to the show as we wait for our favorite sports to return, an all-time version of Countdown to Face Off. Sid, do you remember how to play?
I was born ready. Born ready is my middle name.
What? I thought it was Perfection.
There's a lot of middle names right now.
Understood. Your confirmation name?
João. My dad's name.
Right.
Confirmation names are so weird because they're not legal. There's nothing legal about it, right? Like.
So it's Sydney, Perfection, Born Ready,
Humility. João.
Humility.
Figo, 6-0. There was another one in there I didn't tell you. Figo.
Right. Please allow time for the Timmins citizens to get involved and play at home. And for those playing at home, at work, in the car, even on podcast, this is for entertainment purposes only. Please, no wagering. Again, fun facts and stats meant to edutain. And there is no other way to begin this than by going with Wayne Gretzky.
Hit the post.
The one and only Wayne Gretzky begins our countdown to face-off. And Gretzky won the Art Wash Trophy 10 times. Probably an unbreakable number in of itself. Those 10 seasons, he averaged 181 points. Averaged 100 in those 10 seasons. Without changing the rules, like going 4-4, making the nets bigger, will anyone ever hit 150 again?
Never. See, Tim, the one thing I'm noticing about watching back all these old hockey games on Sportsnet and Sportsnet 1 is how awful the hockey was defensively. How small the goaltending equipment was defensively. How small the goalies were defensively. There is no way those numbers will be... You're going to get 100-point seasons? That's going to happen? 150? Are you kidding me? In this day and age?
Kucherov had 128 last year.
Wasn't 150?
Leon was on pace for 127.
On pace. Give me a break.
He was at 110 in 71 games.
I'm on pace to see you in 3 months too. We're all on pace to do something. Give me a break on pace.
Don't go there. Don't go there. Did you know that NHL overtime was eliminated during World War II because there were restrictions on train travel, so they couldn't risk going long and missing the one and only train that night. It was reinstated in 1983-84, shootout adopted in 2005. When will a shootout be dropped?
When will the shootout be dropped? The shootout's not going anywhere. They got to end the game at some point. You cannot have a National Hockey League broadcast contract with a station and just say the regular season games go on forever, let alone what the PA would say. So I'm gonna make the statement that the shootout, as much as I don't like it right now compared to 3-on-3, because 3-on-3 is food for our eyes, I don't think the shootout is going anywhere anytime soon.
3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for an OT win, 1 point for an OT loss. Play 10 minutes.
So there's a tie. It just ends in a tie, potentially?
10 minutes? Sure. Why not?
People hate ties more than the shootout.
1 point. You get an extra point for the OT win.
Look, you're talking to a soccer guy. I'm in on ties. You don't have to convince me about ties. I'm fine. But there's a lot of, what's the term? Idiots who are like, we can't have a tie. Like, I love Kevin Barker, but he's not down for ties, right? This is a you and me discussion with the tie. But I'm just saying for the other people, they're not as accepting as you and I. They're not.
Judging by the gray t-shirt that I'm seeing you wear right now, you're not into ties either. You're Brian Burke right now.
I'm barely in underwear. You know what I'm talking about?
15 times in NHL history, a goalie has been credited with a goal. How many of them actually shot the puck into the net?
4.
You're supposed to allow those at home to play along. Since guess.
You can allow all you want. When a feeling hits me. Is it 4? Don't let them look it up now. Like, there's a middle ground. Like, if you want to give them time to play, damn it.
The answer is 7. 2 goalies have scored more than 1 goal. Name them.
Ron Hextall. Billy Smith. Damn it. It's not Billy Smith.
Give you one more guess.
Who's the goalie to score twice? Pass. You got me on that one.
It makes sense, though.
I'm sure it does. I just don't know it.
Marty Brodeur.
Damn it.
By the way, your picture is so much clearer than mine as we try and tape this for digital and TV.
My modem's like
Sharp.
10 feet away, though. Just 10 feet away.
I'm plugged in. I'm Ethernetting this.
Really?
The night before the Miracle on Ice, American goalie Jim Craig played the video game Centipede with Soviet star Sergei Makarov at the Olympic Village. What is the greatest video game of our generation?
That's a true story.
True story. I researched this.
They didn't have that scene in Miracle. Miracle was a great movie. They should have. I completely agree with you. What's the greatest video game of all time? It's Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
It was challenging. It was fun. Parts of it, got to be honest, and I'm not proud of this one, a little racist, but as a game, it's still my favorite video game of all time. Right behind it, Tim, and you can now download it as an app and really enjoy it, was Dragon's, I believe it was Dragon's Lair. The super animated video game. Loved it.
Where's NHL 94 on that list? Like, you're going to get lambasted.
You asked me the most difficult question
what the hell are you talking
ever
about?
Asked me, and you're going to be like,
you are going to get lambasted.
I'm the only guy in here that'll tell it the way it is, Jack.
At Tim and Sid, right now, how bad is Sixero at this game? Did you just slap your belly? Is that what I just saw?
This is never making it to air. Don't worry about it. This is a test of the emergency broadcast system.
Oh, that is awesome. Kids might not know this one, but in one of the more unique hockey records, Pittsburgh's Mario Lemieux, you may have heard of him, scored 5 different ways in one game, December 31st, 1988. scored a goal even strength, one on the power play, shorthanded, penalty shot, and finally one into an empty net with 1 second left in the game. He's the only NHL player to score 5 goals 5 ways in one game. Is that more or less impressive than broadcasting the Raptors parade 7 hours commercial free?
Look, with all due respect to Mario Lemieux, there is no way. Like, when you're one of the greatest hockey players ever, I don't think that's that impressive. You should be able to do ish like that.
He's the only one to ever do it.
Shania Twain, don't impress me that much. Something like that.
Okay.
You and I sat there with no commercials, being told, and by the way, Lemieux that night knew his game was 60 minutes. You and I were told that parade was 2.5 hours. So let's just say there were some audibles as it went along. Obviously, what we did last summer is better than anything Mario Lemieux has ever done. I know it's not what you asked me, but I'm going to take it there to the next step. Way better.
Way back in the day, a contest was held to name the San Jose Sharks. One of the finalists, Scouts Honor, Rubber Puckies. Would you have called them the Rubber Puckies if they were the San Jose
or San Jose
Puckies?
Sharks? Okay, first off, I would have said the F word 90 times in my career if that was their nickname, and I would have regretted nothing. No, I would have made a creative decision, an editorial decision on air, that I'm not calling them that. I would have come up with something else. The San Jose's, whatever, the San Jose Great Wi-Fi's, whatever it is, I would have gone there. I would have ignored. And Seattle, get your bleep together and don't do something like that. Get a real name, because in this day and age, and where I'm feeling a little frisky, if it's not a good name for your hockey team, I will decide whether or not I call you that name.
Oh, wow.
I'm doing a show from my kitchen. What's anyone going to say to me at this point? I will make that decision.
Do you know what actually won? It wasn't the Sharks. The Blades won the voting, but it was determined to have too many gang ties, so they went with the Sharks instead. Yeah. We start and finish with Wayne Gretzky, who broke the all-time single-season goal mark by 16 goals, the points record by 65 points. He broke the all-time record by 65 points as a 20-year-old on the Oilers. He has more assists than anyone else has points. I think the total points is safe. But will Alexander Ovechkin break his record? And before you answer, do you want the up-to-date numbers before or after you answer?
I already have the answer. Based on his medical history, Ovechkin breaks his record. I'm going to say he does.
Based on the fact that he doesn't get injured very often,
correct,
you're saying that he will remain uninjured.
Because that's the only thing stopping him. Ovechkin could hit something in the next 2-3 years, and then it's over. He has to stay on the ice. If he does, he'll get there.
For those wondering, he'll be 35 to start next season. 188 goals back of Gretzky if we don't play a regular season, which we're not going to. If he averaged 40 a year for 5 more years, that would put him 12 ahead of the Great One. 40 a year, 5 more years till 40.
For Ovechkin, that's not a crazy average. It's not 180 points in a season like Gretzky, or whatever that average was. I'm saying he does it. He can average 40 a year healthy. Absolutely. And Ted Leonsis, by the way, wants to win. He's going to get him players. He's going to put him in a position to succeed. They're going to win games. So I'm thumbs up on that.
Ovi gunning for that number 1 spot. So is everybody, Sid. As we hit the musical portion of the countdown to coronavirus letting us have our sports back.
There's a musical portion of this?
We use the number 1 spot for inspiration after the break.